takeover.
Yeah.
We are back. This is the Full-Time Devils fan phone in on XS Manchester. I am Adam McCullough. Today, I am joined by Joe,
Hello.
who is back. We've got Statman Dave in the house. As well as Trevor Dwyer Lynch back in the house. Joe, how can people call in?
This simple. Get your calls in nice and early, because I can tell you we've already had a couple of calls in that are going to be on the list. 0345 177 The number is along your screen and will be for the whole video. Get your calls in nice and early so you definitely get your place on today's show.
We have got an action-packed show for you. We are talking all the fallout from the Juventus game. We're looking ahead to the Everton game, talking about great forwards and so much more, as well as taking your calls. And the first topic today, ladies and gentlemen, Jose Mourinho this week after the Manchester United game, when speaking about the reason why he made no substitutions in reference to Tahith Chong, he said, "You can't expect an 18-year-old kid making his debut in a game like this." Thoughts, Trevor?
Is that a growl?
Controversy. So when does he make his debut then? With nothing to lose? Throw the lad in. He's got the ability, we know that. Has he got the ability to take that forward to the first team? Youthful exuberance tells you, in terms of Rashford, when he got his opportunity, what he did. So why not do it? Nothing to lose, really. I think you just got to give him a go and see what happens. You can't judge him off just one game in a Champions League game. If you follow the youth system, you know what this kid's about.
And I think not bringing Tahith Chong on, it's not a huge problem. I think everybody there could have said him just being involved was good for his experience. But then coming out and giving that as a reason, is that befitting of a Manchester United manager, Dave?
I think the big thing is youth with United, isn't it? That's the big thing, that youth players can do things. You know, Tahith Chong in the UEFA Youth League this season's been directly involved in a goal in every 80 minutes. So he can do things. We all know how talented he is. The big thing that he would have helped Ashley Young on that right-hand side. United were very right-sided in that second half. They kept on getting it out to Young, he'd cross. And having someone that could combine with him, when Chong plays that position, he stays quite wide and then cuts inside. So that would have a 2v1 or a 2v2 out wide against Juve. United are going to create more chances. So tactically, it made sense to bring Chong on. And that was one of the interesting sides. Like, why hasn't he done this? But then at the same time, you've got Pereira, you've got Fred on the bench. We saw that midfield against Leicester City, arguably United's best performance. They needed a goal. Why these changes weren't made, I do not know.
Is the bigger concern the fact that he didn't go for his £50 million man, Fred, or Ander Herrera, when Matic was underperforming and has underperformed so much, Joe?
What is it that stops Mourinho from making these decisions? There's got to be something that in his head, when he's got a team out there against 11, 1-0 down against Juventus, and not just 1-0 down against Juventus, the whole world is watching. This is the biggest game of the Champions League that night. Jose Mourinho's under pressure. Everyone's going to be watching everything he does. And he made a conscious decision that night not to bring on any of his substitutions. The person that he has bought in the summer that I still think needs his time at Manchester United was just left on the bench. So why is it? What did Mourinho want to do for him not to bring on them substitutions? Is it stubbornness? Is it arrogance? Is it the fact that he just thought that team out there were just going to hold on to that 1-0? I think he was worried that if you made a substitution and Juventus scored the second, then that would come back on him. I thought he knew that the team out there were just going to get beat 1-0, and that is the worst thing about it for me.
Is he making a point to the board, do you think?
Yeah, I think when you hear him post-match, some of the things he says, you've got to know he's doing subliminally. He is making a statement to the board about, this is what I want, this is what you've not got me, etc, etc, etc. I think maybe in his head, why he didn't make any subs was basically because of the previous game, Chelsea, and we came back for it. We came back. That team, people talk about consistency. He picked the same squad. He picked the same team. He didn't achieve. Now, if you're going 70 minutes in and you're struggling, then make a change. He didn't make a change. Why? I don't know. I don't know, mate.
We've seen this from Jose, where he kind of he makes decisions and then kind of will suggest he didn't make the decision because he wanted to, but because everybody else wanted him to. Now, I understand picking the same team keeps that consistency, but has he had an oversight? Or does he have an oversight with certain players? Because you look at the spine of our team, David De Gea, he was great against Juventus, but he's been in and out of form this season. the centre-half situation. I thought Lindelof was excellent against Juventus, but Smalling, Lindelof, on the whole, we're not convinced. Midfield, Matic has had a dreadful time. Lukaku up top, inconsistent, not scored since Burnley, having a bad time. Our spine is shot to bits at the moment, and we're not seeing any change.
I think that's the biggest problem. Mourinho, is a manager that makes tactical changes. That is what is on his CV. You look at the great Inter teams, change that all the time. Porto would change systems, would change personnel. And that is the weirdest part about Mourinho right now. He's not being Mourinho. Mourinho would have gone in at half-time.
Dave? We talk about our players suffering from a lack of confidence. Do you feel like, for whatever reason, the manager may be doubting himself?
That's the only explanation. Why Mourinho isn't doing what Mourinho does. Why is he not going into half-time and saying, you've been awful, I'm going to take you off? Why is he not doing that right now? Why did he not do that against Juventus? There were so many changes that could have been made. For example, Andres Pereira against Brighton, he makes a mistake for that first goal, doesn't cover the near post. As a defensive midfielder, you've got to do that. But Matic loses Dybala for the Juve goal. Surely if it's the same situation there, you take off Matic and you bring on Fred, and Fred would add a lot of consistency on the ball in terms of what United need to do, moving it around, not just playing to those fullbacks. And that is the weird thing. This is not Mourinho right now. Where is Mourinho? Is it a confidence thing? Is he doubting himself? Is he allowing Carrick and McKenna to make changes? We don't know this, and there's facts that we don't know, but it's very, very weird not to make a single change in a game like that.
And ultimately, whatever the reason, the manager has to take some of the responsibility. Mm-hmm. Let's go to our first call of the day. We have got Rory on line 1 who has 3 points that he wishes to make. Rory,
3 points that you wish to make. Oh, by the way, just get your calls in because there is a backlog going on, but if you keep calling, lovely producer James out there, brother to producer Chris, we'll get your calls in
they
as
live
soon
together.
as you can. 0345 111 7625. Get your calls in now. Rory, you're on Full-Time Devils Takeover, mate. What do you want to say?
Right, well, I had 3 points, but considering what you guys just talked about, I'm going to switch it up a little bit. First of all, I saw positives in the Juventus game. I think, looking at all the videos and everything everyone's saying, I'm the only one.
What positives did you find, Rory?
Well, I think it's more positives of late. Half-time of that Newcastle game, I've been a Man United fan for over 20 years, and that is the lowest and darkest atmosphere with the media, the fans, the players, everything that I've seen. And since then, it's like we're changing little things like playing forward. The other night against Juventus, I saw Luke Shaw out on the left-hand side. He was getting pressed. He had the ball at his feet. Usually United, they go back to De Gea, slow the game down, or kick it long. He didn't. We played out. And even though it's a little change, that shows me that changes are being made, whether that's in the players gaining confidence to play out, or whether that's Jose saying, hey, take risks. And I think at the moment,
What's up, Trev? Trev is hands up in the air. Do you not agree?
Take risks.
Rory, what do you think about the thought that some people say that United only play when we go behind? And why do you think that is?
To be perfectly honest, I really don't want to offend anyone here, but out of all the Man United games I've been to, it seems like at Old Trafford there's a section of the fans that will sing during the whole 90 minutes. But the only times I've heard the place absolutely roar is when we're behind. So if the fans are saying this as well, I also see that in our fans. I went to Swansea last season and it was dead, absolutely dead, and we were 2 up and it was dead. We shouldn't just be reacting. We should be taking advantage from the first whistle. But we've got to see this Man United team as its own. We can't be saying, we're the team of 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because we're not. We're not the same club even. Football's not the same game. So if we have to sort of, in the first half, be more passive and then go and try and build in the second half, and if we're a goal down, have to fight for that. If that's what it takes us to win a game, then that's fine by me. At the end of the day, 3 points is what's important,
Thank
Rory,
you
very
Rory.
much for your call.
Interesting point he made, and it's kind of something that I've made before, in that I think our team kind of reflects our fans at the moment. In terms of when we go to games, we turn up, but we kind of feel, not sure, is it going to be good, what we're going to be, what we're going to expect. And there's kind of an inconsistency in the fans, and there's an inconsistency in the team, and I kind of...
At home. Not away.
I know what I mean. Obviously, we sing away from home, but I mean in terms of the feel, you don't know what you're going to expect from United.
Because for me, and I don't throw it in, I don't care. He's been watching for 20 years, I've been watching for 50 years, right? And I've been there when it's been second division, boom, freezing cold nights, a lot, through to success, and now we're on that curve again. Most fans in that Stretford end are what? Average age? 20, 21. All they've known is success. This is a massive shock to them. They don't understand it. Now, if we're talking about the fans getting behind the team, Champions League nights, and I've experienced thousands of them. Oh, exaggeration, but lots of them. Do you know what I'm saying? Lots of them since we've been in Europe. Probably only missed about 4 games, right? They are special nights. Now, the Premier League games, home games, are special, but these Champions League nights are extra special. The atmosphere is unbelievable. I saw the kid, or heard the kid in the suite saying to his mate, first time we've been here, the kid was about 30 odd, he was a disabled lad, you know what I mean? He was bringing him, and he said, you'll love it, the atmosphere is unbelievable. No, that was a joke. That was a joke. So we're talking about the people were saying, who's the home team here in the first half? Because we were just overplayed, right? Completely, they just dominated us. I'm thinking, who is the home team? But there again, we're talking about the away fans being fantastic. If we were the away team, why wasn't the away support, as in us, fantastic? No, fans can't have it when they want it, because they like the team. They'll just turn it on and turn it off. You're supposed to be there constantly, chanting. They don't. When we go 1-0 up, oh yeah, we'll have a bit of them. Not having it.
Let us know your thoughts on everything that you heard tonight, guys. Remember, you can call in before we go to our next caller. Joe, tell them how they can get involved.
Give us a call, 0345 111 7625. You'll be put on hold for a bit. We'll try and come to you as soon as you can. You have your say on Full Time Devils.
And right now, we're going to James, who's been on Full Time Devils before, apparently.
Hello, James.
All right.
Yeah, very well, mate. James, what do you want to say on the Full Time Devils takeover?
I just want to talk about Lukaku, actually. I was at the game on Tuesday, right, and he just looked slow, lethargic. He didn't do anything. He just sort of walked around the pitch. I think he needs a break, to be honest, because he just, apart from maybe the Birmingham game, even then he had loads of chances to score. He's just looked poor. I think he needs a break because he's just sort of, his hold-up play is not as good. He's looking slow. He's not really doing much, I think. And the problem is he doesn't have any competition, because if he plays bad, he gets in that squad next week, so he's got no one to replace him. I think he's not had a rest. If you look at last season, apart from when Zlatan re-signed for a bit, he's played pretty much every game, went to the World Cup, played most games for Belgium, comes back, does that much of a break, and he's in pre-season.
So the way, Dave, do you think Lukaku needs a break?
I think he does, yeah, but at the same time, I feel a bit sorry for Romelu Lukaku. I don't think Manchester United are geared to playing to him, and you can evidently see that when you look at the passes. You know, it's most games, it's De Gea that finds him the most, which is really bad. Like, you want your wingers combining with him, you want your central midfielders combining with him, and it's almost this thing where now every time he takes a bad touch, it's like, oh, Lukaku's touch is bad, but the lack of frequency of him in that position to receive the ball and to come off maybe is the issue. And I think United as a whole need to sort out their attacking structure.
I felt sorry for him.
Sorry, mate. Because he does make a mistake, right, and he's not scoring goals, then it's over exemplified 10 times worse. If we're scoring goals, or he's scoring goals, makes a mistake, it's not a problem. But like you said, we're not geared up. But we're not geared up to the system to play for him. He needs service. Right, you take away Bex, right? Take away Bex from Rude. Take away Giggsy from Rude. Is he scoring goals?
Absolutely not.
Well, still, but Rude would score goals.
No.
But I hear what you're saying.
Scholesy, I'm not a stat man, I'll leave that to my man next to me. But Rude scored what? 99.9% of his goals were within the 18
But what I would
box.
say is...
So Lukaku, unfortunately, we know he's not what we consider to be a Man United forward. We know that. But if this kid can score 23 goals last season without service, how many goals could he score with service?
I totally hear that. But I feel like what I'm seeing from him at the moment is partly a player that needs to be put out of his own misery. Like, just taken out of the firing line for a bit and given a rest. And I think Mourinho's done this with a couple of players. It happened to Zlatan. It's happening to Matic. It's happening to Lukaku. Just plays and doesn't hold them accountable for their performances. And they suffer because of it. And I feel like Lukaku at the moment, I watched him that day and he wasn't getting in the 6-yard box. No. He wasn't going in areas where he could score goals. He was peeling out wide to the right. He wasn't jumping up for headers. He wasn't doing anything. And it's like, He doesn't want to make a mistake. He's scared. And like you mentioned Rude could be going on a goal drought, but his movement's still there.
Absolutely.
He's still getting into areas.
With the Rude's team, there was players that were looking to play to him. Scholes, Giggs and Beckham, as we mentioned. It doesn't honestly look right now that there's a link up between Martial, Rashford and Lukaku.
I agree with that, but
that's the issue.
You've got to expect like a certain base like.
But this has been happening for like 2 seasons. That's the problem, that it's consistent, that they're not finding him. They're consistently not... When Pogba joined and Lukaku was there, and when they were playing together at the start, how many times would Pogba look up, Lukaku would make the running behind? That pass isn't happening at the moment, and that's the big issue.
Remember, guys, this is the Full-Time Devils fan phone in on XS Manchester. We are here from 6 to 7 o'clock talking all things Manchester United. I've been Adam McCauley, he's Joe. We've got Statman Dave and, of course, Trevor in the house, and we're taking your calls as well. We've got another caller on the line, on line 1, and it's Hanad. Hanad, he wants to talk about transfers.
Evening, mate.
Evening, mate. How are you guys going? How's it going?
Very well, mate. You're through to the Full-Time Devils. You want to talk transfer budgets?
Yeah. Firstly, I want to give a shout out to Webby. I haven't been listening to the start. I don't know
Where is Webby, by the way?
He's not here on today's show. He's ditched us.
Where were you?
Webby.
Where is Webby?
Go on, get your point in then, Hannah.
Everyone tweet Webby, where are you?
Yeah, to be honest, I wanted to talk about realistic expectations. I know we have spent a lot in the transfer window. However, the way Man City is behaving in the transfer market, we have to be realistic with ourselves. I don't think we're going to catch them anytime soon. I've already written the season off. I know it's a bit extreme, but I have to be realistic. No manager changing any manager, even if it's Mourinho. I'm open to Mourinho out. However, I'm thinking, what's the solution? I was wondering if I could get opinion on you guys.
Cheers, Hannah. Now, we were having this conversation before.
It was a long conversation. There was a lot
we
of
were having this conversation before.
What is the solution?
The question I'm going to go to is, do you keep a manager just because there isn't another option there? It was like, I used the story of my car with no brakes. And what I said was, if you had a car and the brakes were gone, would you keep that car just because you couldn't afford a new one?
Depends how much you've invested into that car.
That's a hard little thing to say, isn't it? Because this car can still keep going. This car will get there.
But it's going to hit the wall. We've seen this from Mourinho
But once you get in that car and you turn it on and you go, you make that decision that you've got to crash one way or the other.
So can he fix this?
Well, I don't think he can fix it to the potential of United getting on top. But I think he can coast, like your car could probably coast for a bit and maybe slow down and get there. But I still think there's something in Mourinho that can get us, not perfect football, but still possibly fight for the top 4, which I'm not saying is good enough, Adam. I'm not saying is good enough, but it's the job that the board think, yeah, as long as we get Champions League football, then the board are happy. The smiles are on their faces because the money will still come in.
I'll reiterate what I said a few weeks ago, right? Who else is the antidote for Pep? Who else? Because at the time we got him, right, the 2 best coaches in Europe, one offensively, one defensively. Now, whoever gets either or is going to get the other. That's fact. If we would have got Pep, City would have got Mourinho because City wanted to challenge us. All right. Now it's the other way around. Okay. So if you bring another manager in, because at the moment, like I've said, all we're interested in is marquee managers, marquee players. Now, them up the 62, right? They've had 3 years to develop a team of lesser known players, yeah? Not marquee signings, just people on the periphery. But Man United don't do that. Man United have got to get a ex-player, as not his ex, but figure X, player X, figure A, B or C, who has to be, what? So the market value would be 40 million, what will we end up paying for him? 60, 70 million. Because we have to pay the premium. Man City are in that position now. If they get average players, they've got to pay the premium. So what do you do? For me, bringing a young coach, manager, who's got great ideas, do we start again? Yeah, so what, we start again? Give the youth a chance, because this manager, as we know, isn't about youth. But that, again, isn't his fault. It's the way the game has gone.
So the interesting side there, United had the 3rd, I think, youngest side in the Champions League on Wednesday and Tuesday this week. And I think if you get Mourinho, you know he likes old players and he does well with old seasoned pros and gets an extra season out of them. So having the approach of going one way with youth and then having this other approach with a manager that likes to have like Lucio and Walter Samuel in their prime of their career, I think that's the collective problem. That maybe the direction where someone like a director of football is needed in a way of directing United when these coaches do churn, as we chatted before about coaching, I think that's a big thing. A head coach, a director of football would be a better model for United right now.
This is the Full-Time Devils takeoff. Sorry, Adam, I've got a good quick break. Can I have a quick break?
I was going to say, you've got a question for them.
I do have a question before the break. Thank you, Adam. Are you all right? There's a lot of frustration, Adam, today. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Head
is wobbling. Listen, so you've got a quick break now, but it's literally going to be a couple of minutes. Thank you for watching live. I want you to get into the comment section with this question. Chris and I write these in the middle of the night after a couple of whiskies. Who has made the more Manchester United appearances for Manchester United? Who's made the most Manchester United appearances for United? Is it Vidic or Smalling? Vidic or Smalling, who has made the most appearances?
Are you trying to make me jump?
For Manchester United. This is Full-Time Devils Takeover. And make sure you get your answers in the comments.
It's the Manchester Football Social. Full-Time Devils Takeover.
Yeah. The FTD fan phone-in is back with me, Adam McCullough, with him, Joe McGraw. We got Statman Dave, Trevor, Dwyer, Lynch joining us in the studio. And we're speaking Manchester United. And before we go to the answer to the question from Joe McGraw, we have got some breaking news. Now, this is from the guys at Sky Sports News, so to make of that what you will. But the reports are coming through that Anthony Martial has rejected a contract offer from Manchester United, and contract negotiations are continuing. Sounds like the usual stuff, but of course, Twitter's going to go into absolute meltdown tonight. Statman Dave, what do you make
explosions. Of that? I think that kind of happens. First contract that comes in, you're usually going to reject that from a negotiation position.
It may be because they were discussing in the summer.
They were discussing in the summer. I think it's similar to the Luke Shaw thing. I think Luke Shaw rejected the first deal as well. So there isn't much different to that. But whether United and Martial can agree, it's going to be big.
It could also be something where he's had an offer before these 4 goals in 6 games and things have changed a little bit for him. So, Trev, what do you make of it? You had some thoughts off air?
About Martial?
About just the contract negotiation.
I think, like I said, it's rumoured that the contract negotiations are broken down. But if you know the game...
Well, the story is they've not broken down. Right. The story is he's rejected an offer. The talks continue.
He's rejected a offer. So you know and I know, if I'm representing you, I'm not going to accept the first offer. So I'm going to sort it out. I'm going to get the best offer that I have from my client, and that's what his agent is there to do. Now, it's documented that he don't like the manager. Fine, don't like the manager. Play for the team, play for the fans. Right? It's obvious the fans love him. And by the way, how consistent has Martial been? Not been consistent. But the fans still chant his name. We know the potential he's got. We see flashes, not just the Chelsea game, not the Newcastle game. We know what he's about. Right? So yeah, we would love to have him there. But I say this, if he doesn't want to play for Man United, then leave. Simple. Because where are you going to go, son? Where are you going to go? We're the biggest club in Europe, besides Real Madrid and Barcelona. Where are you going to go? Will City take him? Who knows? But he's not going to go Real Madrid and Barcelona, is he?
Joe, what are your thoughts on this? Now, before we go there, I want to also ask, is this something we could see more of with this manager in charge?
Yes. Vidic has got 300, Smalling 299. There you go. So one more and he's replaced him. Sorry, I've just got to let the people know. The YouTube fans want to know.
So hold on.
The question before the break was who's got more appearances? And Vidic has got 300.
So Chris Smalling, by 2 weeks' time, will have played more games for Manchester United than Nemanja Vidic.
Yeah. Like your eyes are absolutely
back to Martial.
So angry.
He's dropped the mic.
Listen, I'll go back to your question. We'll go back to your question. Listen, Martial, I honestly thought he was just going to walk out there. Martial is learning off other people, and I think this is going to be more and more the case that these stories are going to come out. Listen, we don't know if it's true or not, do we? Because the people that are running it might just be saying it, like you say, but in the break, we are the news. This will be retweeted and argued about throughout the
Sky Sports News told us that Mourinho was going to get sacked after.
Ramos was going to join United.
So, take everything with a pinch of salt.
So they slag us and they do all this about us and they hate us, we know that. But we are the news, mate. It doesn't matter, right? Anything to do with Man United, them up the road could win 88-0 in the game, right? Mm-hmm. Mino could do something tomorrow.
The headline would say United have never done that.
Exactly, would it?
United never winning 88-0.
We are the news, mate. So, it is what it is.
Anyway, we're going to go to some calls, yeah?
Yeah. Let's do
go to some calls now. I know these guys have got their thoughts, but with this being breaking news in regards to Anthony Martial, we want to get your thoughts on whether you want Anthony Martial to sign a contract, whether you think he will sign a contract, and whether United should give the man what he wants. Let us know your thoughts. We're going to go to line 1, Graham.
Hello, Graham, mate.
Hi, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, mate. What do you want to say?
Right, I was going to talk about Lukaku, but obviously while I was on hold there, I actually heard that Martial situation, and realistically we want to keep him. I would keep him over Lukaku if we could, because then I think he's got a lot more talent. So, like, the part that annoys me is the fact that he probably had the same amount of talent as Mbappe, but it's just, it wasn't kind of nurtured right. He was not getting enough minutes. Again, playing under a manager that doesn't really suit his style. I just think it's very weird for us that we can't let him slip. Because that one will come back and bite us right in the arse.
Is that word allowed on? It's allowed on with me, but I don't know, is Joe going to start sweating again?
I didn't really hear it, to be fair. So, apologies if it was
You're
a
all
naughty
right with
word.
me, Graham.
Apologies if that was a naughty word.
He said donkey, but he said the other word for it.
That should be said.
Can't keep saying it.
It's what Lukaku couldn't hit with a banjo.
Yeah, of course he could. Listen, Graham, with Lukaku and Martial, do you see that partnership of when all three of them are playing up front with Rashford, Lukaku, Martial? Is that something you want to see in the future for Manchester United? Them three, their attacking style.
I kind of want to see a little change. Right, we've just spent a lot of money on getting Alexis Sanchez in, but it's more an interchangeable front man. Because Lukaku right now is always out wide. I've seen him on that right touchline than I have in the box in the last 3 games, and it's ridiculous. So if you're going to have an interchanging front man, put Sanchez up front, give Lukaku a rest for a couple of games. Let's see what we can do with that.
That's a great point, mate, because you speak to my mates who are Arsenal fans, and they said Sanchez's best season was when he played down the middle for Arsenal. Now, we might have saw him coming in from the left, cutting in, but they're saying to me, and they're adamant, that he's best down the middle. So, yeah, give him a break, Lukaku. Yeah?
To be fair to Jose, he was injured in the last game.
Yeah, so maybe it comes back. Dave, would you play him down the middle?
Yeah, 100%. His record.
Is Graham still there?
I feel like Lukaku needs motivation, right? Yeah. It feels like right now him and Matic are undroppable.
I know what I'm doing, don't worry.
Sorry, I've got the mic knobs over here. Cheers, Graham. Dave,
love you, Graham.
Is Sanchez good down the middle? I'll tell you who's gone off the line. He's on one today, Adam.
Yeah, Dave. I'd prefer playing Alexis Sanchez over Anthony Martial as a central striker. His record at Arsenal, 30 goals and 10 assists that season that they all talk about, and he was brilliant that year, really, really good. And I think that would add something to United, that interchange with the positional switching that would be quite good. Yeah. Flexibility. What United are lacking at the moment is that flexibility, I think.
And Adam stated before, which he did about his movement, Lukaku's movement is terrible. It is. It's like a cement.
Not when he's confident.
So, right, okay.
Right now.
But if you watched Sanchez off the ball, his movement is really, really good. And he will get into areas, but the ball doesn't get there. So he gets frustrated, he's got to check out his run, blah, blah, blah. Like Dave says, for me, throw him in there. Let's see what he's about. Because the big time Charlie, I'm referring to, let's take your top off, take a picture after the game, Adam's best mate.
We don't agree on that, by the way. He is my best mate.
Right, Adam's best mate, right? He needs players like that to run off him. Now, my friend, the Green Mile, I can say that, the Green Mile, Lukaku.
Oh, friend.
You know what I mean? He doesn't move. Sanchez will move. There will be movement off the ball.
But also with Lukaku right now, again, back to that point, that nobody's finding him, so it's almost like he's frozen. You watch him when he plays for Belgium, he moves quite a lot, and it's weird that he's moves a lot for them, runs the channels. We saw that great goal he scored winning the opening game of the World Cup.
Belgium create 20 chances a game.
This is it. This is the other thing that, if they're creating chances, he will move into these good goal scoring areas. But I think the flexibility of Sanchez through the middle excites me as a fan, considering what we saw on Tuesday night. Sorry,
there's a really weird atmosphere in the studio. It's like it could go off at any minute.
It's going to go off. You know what
I'm scared
it is,
to ask Adam questions.
It's because
Max getting done.
It's because listen to me.
There we go.
I might talk to the people at home because I hate you in the studio. So I'm looking right down the camera. These lot here have been bullying me today. Let me just get that straight out there now. In the green room. It's not even a green room. It's just got a green screen in it.
Worst green room ever.
We don't even have any drinks in there. Thanks, Joe.
I make you coffees.
We go in this green room that ain't a green room with just a green screen.
He's quoting Mourinho. Everybody hates him.
It's basically Mourinho, isn't it?
3 full-time Devil videos.
Respect.
How many times, Mac?
6 years I've been on this channel. Show me. But yeah, these lot ganged up on me.
No, we didn't.
And now, when Jose
Mark, why are you
ends up
pointing at
doing
me?
what he's doing,
That's rude.
I'm going to be leaving, right?
You're going to do what?
And Tony Marshall's going to end up leaving now because of yous lot.
Because of me?
That's it out on us.
Yeah.
And then, look what has happened.
Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, you're on the line, mate. But you think Jose is bringing some positivity to the fans? Is that what you think?
What?
Or have I just read that wrong?
That's definitely not what I think. No, first of all, boys, thanks for having me. I've been a fan for a while, so...
no problem, Glenn. We love you.
No, I think there's solutions, simple enough solutions where director of footballing, not there, hopefully will create better transfers. Better transfers will create a better mood for the fans, and then depending on how the season goes, if you get a new manager in or not, the next person that comes in just says it has to be super positive, and then from there on in, it's just going to be on the way up. I think that's what would help.
Is it Joe?
No, it's Glenn.
Sorry, Glenn, apologise. Glenn, do you honestly think that the manager says to the team, go out and be boring? Do you honestly think that he says that? No, that's not about setting them up and about what we play in different positions. Adam and I had a conversation before. 22 players in the squad. Each one of them 22 players should be able to do something on the pitch. Now, as a manager, as a coach, you're not saying to the player, right, go out there and be boring, don't be exciting, pass the ball backwards, don't do this, don't do that. Mate, he sets them up, they have the ability.
Okay. Glenn, what's your thoughts to that?
Well, I think the players probably are lacking the confidence, and that doesn't just come from Mourinho, like you're saying, sets tactics out to be boring. That comes from other things, like the press and the bad, summer, and even in some ways Mourinho, the way he can't go on, that sort of brings everyone down. And then what the callers said about the fans, they're reacting to a goal, and that's how they get everyone cheered up. That's how it is, just confidence is lacking everywhere. So that's why if United made a positive move to bring in a director, that shows progress, that United are taking this a bit more serious now. Then you make progress with transfers, maybe getting rid of some players, maybe looking at better players. So there's the next positive. And then depending how the season goes, you get a new manager in, I don't know who it be, whoever it is has to come in and has to be super positive, and then I think the fans would love it, and I think it would progress then from going forward.
Glenn, what about you as a player? What about you as a player? Your commitment, your determination, your passion. Do you know what I mean? Your self-pride. Surely that.
What I got to say though, in response is Glenn. You got a response to that?
Self-pride.
Do you play football, Glenn? Do you play football, mate? Glenn, can I ask you a question? Do you play football?
So, I play rugby.
Right, I play rugby. Okay, so you're a sportsman, mate. You know within yourself, if when you cross that white line, whether you have played 100%. Or whether you play 70%, you know sometimes, I could have done a little bit more here, or you know yourself. So that comes into it. Now, whether you play sport and you're competitive at any level, whether it be amateur, semi-pro, pro, you know within yourself whether you've achieved something.
But in response to that, what I would say is, your team reflects your manager.
Right.
When you look at Pep Guardiola's team, it reflects him. When you look at Jurgen Klopp on the sidelines jumping around like a bell, it reflects him. He's got that energy on the pitch. When you look at Manchester United, we reflect our manager. The negativity, the mood, the feeling sorry for ourselves, the lack of enthusiasm. I look at my manager and I think
kind of
we've
like
got a
pushing
manager
it to
that
him.
doesn't
That's
even want to
pushing the
be
blame.
here.
You're
So
just
how
completely pushing
when
the
we
blame.
had Moyes and Van Gaal, no one made these excuses.
But what happened
for
to
them.
both of those managers? They eventually got pushed out by the players. That's what happened.
No, it wasn't by the players. It was because of their results.
Rubbish.
Van Gaal's players won him an FA Cup. They weren't playing for him. They weren't playing for him. So the manager... hold on. You said...
in the world. You
Trev.
Well, let Trev have his say.
No, he has.
You want to be one of the best in the world. He's going to drop the mic again on me. You want to be one of the best in the world, right?
I don't set him down.
Us four in here, or five of us are playing a five-a-side team. If you're rubbish, I'm still going to go out and I'm going to give my 100%.
Yeah, you said that,
So people
Trev.
then will notice me. If you want to play at 10%, you do that. I'm playing at 100%.
We are playing the style of football that the manager has transferred to his team. Okay. This is his style of play. It is not good enough. He doesn't bring the best out of his players.
All right.
Not one of our players has improved much. Not one of them.
Not much.
None of them.
Jesse Lingard, you'd say.
Jesse Lingard improved under Van Gaal, mate. He was always going to be in his team. Trevor said the same thing
but
earlier.
at the same time, you can look at other players like Marcus Rashford has definitely improved under
Jesse
Mourinho.
Lingard scored the FA Cup final winner the same time Jose Mourinho was leaking that he got the
Man
job.
United. It was the same time under Mourinho. He's directly involved in 20 goals for the first time in his career.
That's obvious because he's going to improve as he grows up.
But then you can't.
Romelu Lukaku had his best season last season. He's gone backwards.
You can't look at one thing and then look at another thing and then say cut it down.
Gents, I'd love us to carry it on. And do you know what, we probably will, because you lucky people got 20 more minutes of this. We're going to have to take a quick break while the boring ads are played.
Oh, we're talking about something exciting after this, though.
Are we buzzing? We got the smiles back at Adam's face. Look at him. We are going to go to a quick break. Wayne Rooney has turned 33 this week. Happy birthday, Wayne. And we want to ask you your opinions on your favourite strikers. Put it in the comment section and we'll be talking and reading out your comments right after this.
Did you know you can get...
This is the Manchester Football Social. Full-time Devils takeover.
We're back. Can I just say, thank you to Jem in the comments on YouTube. What she said is, I feel sorry for Adam. Don't worry, they never believed Jesus too and they made him die on a cross. True stories, Jem. True stories,
I didn't know you were going to read that one out.
That's what I'm reading out.
Imagine bringing Jose Mourinho into the Bible story. But anyway, the question I asked...
He would be Judas.
The question I asked you is, Wayne Rooney turned 33 this week, so we're asking who is the greatest United forward striker. You just saw a picture, you slapped me on the head before it came. A lot of people setting their comments in. Van Persie saying again a shout because he said that he's going to retire at the end of the season. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Eric Cantona in there. Someone saying Tevez.
Andy Cole.
It's a joke. Berbatov there.
Dwight York's got to be in there. Got to have a mention.
Statman Dave, what you saying?
No, I kind of think Robin van Persie was really good for that season. Yeah. Really high level. But it's got to be something like Rooney, hasn't it, for the recent years? Or, I really liked Tevez. It was a shame that he's obviously moved on to...
No, it wasn't. He was a snake.
Oh.
Was he not a snake?
No, but what I'm saying it's a shame that he did move to Man City.
He held up a sign that said R.I.P. Fergie.
No, but what I'm saying, it was a shame that he did that.
Tevez's name today, sorry.
8 minutes and 30 seconds left for the full-time Devils takeover. Let's make the most of it.
Sorry, we're 4-1 up already, mate.
This is 4-1 up. You judge the comments who's winning. We've got a couple of callers. We'll get to you soon. But Adam, you said you had something you want to say. You're excited about this next bit.
Yeah, because you know what? Yeah. Ever since 5 o'clock when we met up today, Trevor and Statman Dave
was like,
if that is their real names, have been bullying me and ganging up on me.
Okay.
But really, I know for a fact, Trevor thinks stats are ruining football, Dave.
Can I agree with that?
You agree with it?
I can agree with that
You're trying to break the partnership.
You have got no spine. Your name's Statman Dave.
Yeah, but at the same time, stats taken out of context are ruining football. You have some stats that are very important.
Pause there.
This is what I'm saying. Like, you're diving in when I'm trying to talk.
He's delivering it the right way.
Remember when you came out to me after the Sevilla game and I was moaning about Fellaini?
This is your point, right? You've not watched... Have you watched that game back?
You said to me...
No.
Fellaini had 2 shots on target.
Have you watched that game back? No. Exactly. Then my
I'm not a sadist.
My point still stands with Marouane Fellaini that day.
I feel lost.
That Marouane Fellaini was United's most effective attacker that day. And that's exactly the thing. But, like you're sort of saying, stats out of context are not good. Completely agree with that.
I think what happens is sometimes, right, with the thing of stats, people get that confused with stats on who's played better. Do you know what I mean? Me, personally, I will reiterate what Adam says. Stats for me are a joke.
I didn't say that. You said. I said what you said.
I'm saying, right.
The only thing that's mad about the new stats are the possible goals, or what's that one?
Right, the only stats that I want to know about.
Expected goals.
The stats I want to know about is if we've won the game. That's what I want to know about. I don't want to know about.
The answer is usually
27 miles in the game.
It only matters if it means something. Right. That's what you're saying. There's context. There has to be context. Yeah. If there's no context, it's not worth anything.
Can we quickly go to Vinod, who's been on the line? I hope I'm saying that right. He's all the way in USA. Vinod, a couple of minutes with you, mate. On a full-time Devils takeover, what do you want to say?
Yeah, so I was listening to Adam and also Statman Dave, and he
don't listen to Dave.
And Adam was saying that the team reflects how the manager is there. So if you look, we always complain that Manchester United doesn't show any urgency and other things. How do you see urgency in a field? By pressing, like you see that when you don't have the ball, you need the ball to in your possession. So, but no one presses, and it is not players' fault, because pressing is not something that one player can do. It is a coordinated effort which needs to be trained and which needs to be instilled in the team. Liverpool, look at how they play now. It took them years to instill that. And Tottenham. And another, like when people tell us that, players should wear the pride and do this, they can't go against the manager on the field. You have seen what have happened when they have gone against it. So I don't blame them for, sometimes just being lazy, strolling around and having no, intention to get the ball's possession. Another thing that I want to add here is, after the US game, everybody tries to tell us that there is a very big...
Got to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there for his minutes to goal ratio when he comes off the bench. Though.
Wayne Rooney, let's go.
Let's go
to Scottish Stewart on line 1. We've got 2 minutes left. Hello, Scottish Stewart. You got 30 seconds, mate.
Scottish Stew, before you get into your thoughts, who's your favourite? Who's the greatest striker?
Wasting time.
I'll tell you now, the greatest Manchester United striker was a little fella called Dennis Law.
Hey.
He was bloody brilliant.
The king.
He was playing for Huddersfield Town reserves, and Manchester City spotted him and they signed him, and then they sold him to Torino for a 6-figure sum. Then he moved to Manchester United, and that's where his illustrious career took off. And then he obviously went back to City at the end of his career. But what a bloody player he was. He's bloody brilliant. Honestly, he should be hanging off him when he came on the pitch. Some of them need to watch videos of him. Lukaku, watch a video of him. But I'll tell you now, I'll make a quick point. Manchester City, when you watch them play, what's the first thing they do? When you watch them as a team, what's the first thing they do as a team? As a group of players?
I don't know,
Come on. Well, come on, you're all football talkers.
Play good football.
Play good football, pass.
No, I tell you what they do. They bloody work hard.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
They work hard at what they're doing. When they're doing the high press, they work hard. Skills are great. Of course you need skills as a football player to win football games, but you've got to work bloody hard. Martial's got skill. Mario Balotelli had skill. Pogba's got skill. Doesn't make you a great player. You've got to work hard.
I think he did say Balotelli. Scottish Stew, we have to go. We've got only a minute left. But thank you very much for your call. Sorry we couldn't get to you. Right, I mean, that's been an eventful show. Adam, are you going to do Webby's last word?
No, I'm not doing Webby's words. We'll let Trev do Webby's final words today.
Dave, thank you.
But before we do that, Dave.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I was just laughing at the fact that it was.
Are we going to beat Everton on Sunday?
Balotelli has skill. Martial has skill.
No, the reason
They've got to start working, Adam.
The reason he said that was because last week he compared Martial to Balotelli.
Okay. Everton, what's the score going to be, Statman Dave?
3-1 Manchester United.
Cheffer?
3-0.
To who?
Listen. 3-0 Man United.
Adam, what you say? Say goodbyes, Adam.
First of all, this has been an amazing show today, even though I got bullied throughout the whole of it. But thank you to everyone for tuning in on Full Time Devils.
Yes,
thank you for listening on XS Manchester. We've been Full Time Devils.
You're tuned to